Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are, whenever you are. Welcome to a brand new Bitcoin and Ethereum technical analysis video. My name is Matthew Battiri. If you are a first-time watcher, I'd love for you to subscribe to the Decrypting Crypto YouTube page where you are watching this video right now. And I want to let you guys know that we're going to be doing this as a business Monday to Sunday. Now we're going to have videos every single day apart from our Decrypting Crypto live streams that you may be familiar with that we do every Tuesday and Friday. We're going to do a weekly Bitcoin and Ethereum TA on Monday. We're going to have our DC live streams on Tuesday. Wednesday is going to be an altcoin technical analysis where I will be getting picks from you guys, the audience, to let me know what you'd like me to do some technical analysis on. Thursday, we're going to do money, mindset, and personal development. And on Friday's DC live stream with 2 how-to videos on Saturday and Sunday. So if you are a first-time subscriber to this channel, feel free to click on the subscribe button here on the YouTube page. Click this little bell icon as well. It will notify you every time that we are live on this channel so you can keep up to date with what is happening in the market, news, analysis. What else do we do? We also do adoption highlights, who is adopting cryptocurrencies as part of their country or their business. And you can be obviously notified. Whoop, I was watching myself live. You know what? I'm going to give myself a little like. How's that? Give myself a like. Got 3 likes so far, so that's a great start to the stream. Now, before I get started, because this is the first time that obviously I am doing a technical analysis video, I want to give you guys a little bit of background about how I became a full-time technical analyst and now a coach for Breakout Solutions. I basically started watching a lot of YouTube since 2017, so self-taught trader, had a lot of inspiration, a lot of mentors. They probably don't know that they were mentors to me, but basically I want to give them a quick shout out because I watched their videos for, I'm still watching their videos today. So what's that, like 5 years? And I just want to give them some recognition because some of the stuff that I go through today, you might be like, oh, I've seen this guy do it and so forth. So you always want to take inspiration from people that are successful. So surround yourself with like-minded people and people that are successful, and hopefully the same will occur to you. So we're quickly going to go through them. So we've got Eric Crown Crypto. So feel free to give these guys a like and a share and a subscription as well. You've got Jason Casper, you've got Dan from Chart Champions and all his coaches. We have Tone Base, and we also have Crypto Face, who was the developer of Market Cipher, one of the indicators that you guys are going to see on today's video. So I'm going to X out of these. Now, before I get started with the technical analysis videos, I just want to make sure that you guys are following us on all our socials. You can see the banner at the bottom of your screen. Feel free to jump on our Facebook page, Decrypting Crypto - Blockchain Cryptocurrencies and Digital Assets Made Easy. We're very active in the group. It's very open for you guys to ask us questions about what's happening in the market. Is it going up? Is it going down? Keep up to date with all our content and videos. You can follow the businesses as well on Instagram. We're all on LinkedIn as well. So this will be the first and only time that I reference all these because it is the first video that I'm doing. And I just want to let you guys know where you can see more of our content each and every single day. Alrighty, without further ado, let's jump into the Bitcoin chart. So if you have been around a while, there's a couple of charts that I recommend you get. If you are a trader, you always want to jump on the chart where you are trading. So if you're trading Bitcoin derivatives and you are doing it on Bybit, and make sure that you're always looking at the the Bitcoin USD pair on Bybit. If you're on Coinbase or any other exchange, make sure that you're watching that because what's happening on that chart could be slightly different to what's happening on another chart. There's different volumes, different whales are on different exchanges. but I always recommend you're watching the charts on the exchanges that you are trading on. So I'm going to be looking at the BTC USD pair on Bybit because that is where I trade. You can see that Bybit has been around since the 12th of November 2018. But if you want a fully historical chart for Bitcoin, just type in BLX or Brave New Coin Liquid Index, and you will get a chart that shows the entire history of Bitcoin since its inception. This one's got a few drawings on it because it's something that I went through on our live stream on Friday, the DC live stream. So these vertical bars are in reference to that. But you can see a historical price of Bitcoin, and we can see that Bitcoin's going up and to the right. And this is why, as a business, we're big believers in cryptocurrencies, but most importantly, Bitcoin. Alrighty, so let's jump into the Bitcoin chart on the Bybit exchange so we can see what is going on. So we just basically printed a new month the other day. So we're in the month of September. And we can see that the last 3 months, we basically have a lot of support around that $19,800 mark on the monthly scale. Okay, so the larger the time frame, I guess the more information you can get about what's happening in the price. So we can see right now that we have a fair bit of price stability here. It was also the candle closed back here on the 1st of November 2020 and the candle opened for December 2020. So this is why we're seeing a lot of support right now. This is why we're seeing a lot of boring action the last 2 weeks. We've only seen, especially in the last couple of days, we haven't seen much volatility. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. For the last 10 days, basically, Bitcoin's been ranging between 20,500 and 19,500. So super boring, very unlike Bitcoin. And then the week before that, we also were ranging between 20,800 and 21,800. So $1,000 price range, super boring. But these sideways consolidation does build a lot of support. So meaning if we do, for example, break down from here, we're going to find some resistance back at this price point at a later date. And if we go up from here, we hope that this price point does give us support. It just means that a lot of volume has sort of been exchanged through here, but there's a lot of indecision between the bulls and the bears where we should go from next. And that's what we're going to go through today. Hopefully I can give you a little bit more accuracy and understanding where I believe the price will go. And we're also going to dive into all of my favorite indicators. Now, if you're new to trading, less is more. But once you obviously have found a sweet spot with the types of indicators that you want to use, you might use a lot. I don't recommend a whole lot, but these are the ones that I utilize. So we've got the Bollinger Band width percentile, the exponential moving averages, the 20, the 50, 100, and 200, a fixed range volume profile, hash ribbons indicator, the MACD or moving average conversion divergence, the simple moving averages, which is the 50 and the 200, pi cycle bottom and top indicators, the RSI or relative strength index, session volume profile HD, stochastic RSI, TD sequential volume, and on top of that, we have market cipher as well. So I will briefly talk about these moving forward, but I just want you to know those are the indicators that I use, and I may reference them today or later down the track if I don't want to spend too much time talking about these. We may talk about this. So we're going to start off with the Bollinger Band width percentile. And basically, you have these two lines. So you have this volatility indicator, which is the colored line, and then you have this moving average. Every time both these lines at the bottom here, it means that we are kind of in consolidation mode. And as the lines start moving to the upside, that means we're getting expansion. That means volatility is increasing. So we can see if I go to the weekly scale, the momentum is moving to the downside. Okay, basically means we're very stagnant. We're close to a bottom because you can see that when we have hit the bottom and then we expand to the upside, we get large moves. So back here in April or May, I should say, or end of April, you can see that volatility increased, right? But the price went down. It's not a direction bias. It just tells you that a big move is coming. Here's another example back here in October 2020. We had the expansion occur and look, we went to the upside. So this doesn't tell us what direction it's going in, but it's basically telling us, hey, a move is coming. So on the weekly profile, things are looking like we're going to round out in the next sort of month or so. Let's see if the monthly is not telling us too much. So I'm only going to do the weekly and the daily because there's so many different time scales that we can look at. But basically, I don't want to spend an hour on here. I could spend an hour because I'm too passionate about this, and I could go on massive rants. And if you've been on our DC live streams, you know how my rants can go. So on the daily scale, the Bollinger Band is to the downside, right? So basically it's still in this consolidation mode. And if you're someone that wants to use the old school Bollinger Bands, you can just type in Bollinger Bands. Let's just go that one. And you can see that the Bollinger Bands, we have this upper band, this middle trend line, which is usually about the 20-period exponential moving average, and then this bottom band. Now, every time the bands are squeezed together, we're usually at the bottom of the range. Every time the bands are wide, it means we're at the top of this range. So you can see that there's a lot of correlation. Here we're squeezed. That means the moving averages and the volatility line is also quite low. And as we expand, as you can see, these two lines are very well separated. The line is moving to the upside because volatility has increased. So right now we're in this really boring consolidation mode, and you see this in all bear markets where we try and find some price stability. And if you want to see a really good, a really boring one, was back here in 2019. Look at this, just like boring. I mean, it looks boring because it was very small, right? Right here, we can see that we're looking at a, let me just remove my magnet. We can see that basically we had a price range of basically $1,200. So between $4,200 and $3,100. Now that's a 25% move, right? But we just saw this really boring sideways consolidation for many, many days. And if I measure it completely, we're looking at, you know, just some boring stuff for about 125 days, which is close to 4 months. So right now we've kind of created the same sort of boringness right here. And how many days have we been doing this boring kind of stuff for? So about 77 days. So we could have another sort of 2 months of just this sideways sort of range, moving only like 25%. Let's have a look at what this sort of range is. Yeah, it's about 38%. So it's, you know, pretty close to that sort of 25 that I just mentioned. So back to the charts and back to talking about where the price is going to go. So we can see on the daily scale that the Bollinger Bands are squeezing, meaning that a move is going to be occurring quite soon. Now, what you'll tend to see is the Bollinger Band here at the bottom is at 18,600, and it's very rare for these candles to have to basically move too far outside the Bollinger Band. If we look at like previous history right here, we might get a wick, but we tend to close within the Bollinger Band. So even if we do sort of have a crazy wick down to, you know, maybe the previous lows of 17,600, it looks like we're going to probably close within 18,600. So I'm not saying that this is the bottom, because of course these Bollinger Bands can expand, but it's just a good visual on where and what the price possibly can do. What we tend to do when we use a lot of indicators, like myself, we try and look for confluence. Is one indicator saying one thing and the other one is saying the other? And then you kind of be like, okay, 70% indicators are saying we're going up and 30% are saying we're going down. So odds are we're probably going up, and vice versa. If you get negative readings on certain indicators, you have the reverse percentage, and maybe you make a better call with those. All right, so we've done Bollinger Band. We're now going to move to the EMA. So the EMA is telling us that on the daily scale, we are below the 20-period exponential moving average, and on the weekly, we are well below the 20-period moving exponential average. And usually that's an indicator that we are in a bear market. If we look at previous bear markets, we will tend to see that we tend to stay below the 20 EMA. So the 20 EMA is this red one right here. And once we're below it, you can see it just acts as resistance. We just continuously get pushed down. But once we break back above it, we tend to get an exponential move to the upside. So below it is very bearish, and then above it, very bullish. So right now we've been below it for a while. So the next bull run in my indication will be when we close a nice daily candle, or weekly candle, sorry, above this red line, which is quite some time away. On the daily scale, you know, right now it looks like these moving averages are wanting to flat out like here. But it's not giving us too much information because we are, like I said, in this boring sideways range for the last couple of weeks. The fixed volume range profile, one of my favorite indicators, basically allows you to pull a line from two spots And what that'll do is it'll give me the volume profile of where the most amount of trading has occurred in this entire box, for example. Now, I pulled it from just a random spot, but what I'd like to pull it from is where we wick down here at that 17. Or actually, I'm gonna pull it to this candle here, which is basically in line with this, entire sideways range. If I pull it here, it kind of removes, it increases the range, and I don't want to do that. But what we can basically see right here, let me do it. Sorry, I'm doing it on not the right chart. We want to do it on this chart right here, which is my trading chart. So we can see that the point of control of this entire sideways range is 21,400. Okay, so that right now we're below that, so that's going to be acting as resistance if we have a move to the upside. You can see slight discoloration between these upper candles and this middle section. So this is what's called the value area high of the range, and this is what's called the value area low of the range. And these are kind of like support and resistance as well. So when we come down, if we come down, we're going to find support at around 19,000. And if we move to the upside, we're going to find resistance at 22,674. We will also find the same support and resistance depending where we are in price at 21,438. But you can see over the last couple of weeks, we've got these quite large spikes. We can see right here, this upper spike. This is obviously a spike because a lot of people are selling at this price. And then we have a lower spike right here because a lot of people are buying at this price. So right now, it looks like we've got an even amount of buyers and sellers, but Bitcoin is quite funny. It's not going to stay like this for long. We're going to obviously see some action in a second. So I really like this indicator because you want to really pull it from different areas. So for example, another way that you can use it is you would go from the local high to the current low, and we can see that the point of control is exactly the same as this entire sideways range. So I like to do it. You can also do it for the entire year. So if we go to the start of 2022, we can see where the most amount of Bitcoin was traded this year. And this was back up here at 39,000. If I even pull it from the all-time high right here, we can see 38,859, right? So really important data, but so are all these other peaks. These other peaks are going to be like resistance when we start moving back to the upside in the next bull run. So I really like this indicator. It gives me a lot of information. You can even pull it back from as far back as you like to see a lot of history. Okay, we can see a lot of Bitcoin was traded. Look at this sideways consolidation right here, which lines up with this point of control of 9,476. Quite a possibility that Bitcoin could go down there if we have a flash crash, but we're going to have a lot of buyers at that price. Don't worry about that. Alrighty, so that is interesting to say the least, that we are still below the point of control of this entire sideways range, but I'll leave this support right here because that is an interesting support to have and something for us to keep an eye on, because that could be the bottom of this local area, and then we will push to the upside. Hash ribbons indicator, this looks at miner profitability, and we can see that we got a buy signal not too long ago. Now this signal is quite good as well. It's got a 70 to 80% strike rate, but basically saying every time we get a buy signal, it's very close. We are close to the bottom, or if not the bottom, and it's a good time to dollar cost average into Bitcoin. So basically, if you're looking at the history of Bitcoin, it's timed it fairly well. So we got a buy signal back here in August 2021, which kind of missed a little bit of this pump, and then it went to the all-time high. We also had another buy signal back here around 20,000 when we were halfway through the bear market, and we had that previous bull market all-time high resistance. And then you can obviously see a few other indications here. So there was a buy here, there was a buy here, and there's a buy here. And these were very close to, having bottom signals. So always good to have the hash ribbons indicator just to give you a macro perspective of where we are. So a macro perspective, you're someone that doesn't do any leverage trading, you might be like, hey, I need some really simple indicators to tell me when I should buy and when I should sell. The hash ribbons indicator is one of those signals that you can basically, bet your money on. Buy when it says buy. When it says capitulation, it looks like we're going to have some selling. So you can see capitulation happen here when we started. These two moving averages convert, boom. So we had capitulation here. And you're probably thinking, well, why didn't it say capitulation back here? Well, basically the hash ribbons is an indicator that measures miner profitability. If the cost of the electricity to produce a Bitcoin is more or greater than the value of Bitcoin, then miners turn off their machines, as you can see here, because the cost is outweighing the actual profits. They are a business at the end of the day. They need to be making money. So they were still profitable making and creating Bitcoin here until we hit just below 30,000, and now we've made a bit of a recovery and miners are starting to turn on, which is obviously a good indicator that we could be at the bottom. Alrighty, the next one is the MACD. What is the MACD telling us on a daily scale? So on the daily scale, we can see that the two moving averages are looking to cross over very shortly. So what happens when we have these two moving averages crossing over? Well, let's have a look at history. So we can see right here. We can see right here, and we can see right here. I'm just going to do these last 4 bullish ones, right? So whenever we go from these moving averages crossing over, but also going from the red to the green, you can see that back here, this was a bit of a false signal. So we had a sell event occur, which is quite contrary to what normally happens. We tend to move to the upside. Here's another signal where we were sort of in the midst of the bear market, but we sort of consolidated sideways. This previous time we pumped up, and then this other time we also pumped up. So I personally think we're going to go lower, and I do think that these lines will do something very similar to here. So back here you can see that we had a nice rounded histogram, and then the moving averages look like they wanted to cross over, but they didn't, and then we ended up dumping. So you can see right here, this is around 58,000. People probably were starting to get bullish. They use this indicator, but we ended up dumping. That's personally what I think is going to occur here. I don't think we're going to cross over, and I think we're actually going to fall to the downside. And this is just in relation to you seeing what I'm seeing, but confluence with other indicators, not just this single indicator. I'm going to go through a few other indicators right now to prove my point. So I won't go through, all right, we'll quickly go through the moving averages. I'm just going to go the simple moving averages. There we go. Okay, so we have the 20 period simple moving average. This was acting as resistance. We have the 50, which is the green one, and then the 200. Now the 200, usually when we are below the 200 period moving average, it's the bear market. We're in the bear market, and you can see right here when we broke down from the all-time high, we had a little bit of support around that 200 period moving average. We broke below, and then it ended up being resistance back here, and then we've obviously capitulated since then. So a good indicator that we are back in the bull run is when we cross back over and price action is above the 200 period moving average. If we look at history of the last bull run, you can see right here the blue 200 period, so acted as resistance back here. Okay, so we can see resistance, boom, came down, resistance, 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 capitulation, and once we broke back above it, you can see that then we started the sort of first part of the bull run back in 2019. Then we obviously spent a little bit of time below here where we had right here, this was the Corona dump. But basically, after we broke back above it on the 29th of April, 2020, look at that. We basically stayed, let me just turn off the 50, so it makes it a bit easier to see. You can see that basically we stayed well above the 200 period moving average, and we had an amazing bull run. Spent a little bit of time under it here, midway through the bull run, and then a little bit more time above it. So what I'll be looking at on a macro scale is for price action to close some solid days above this line. And that will be like, yes, we're back in the bull run. Let's all FOMO back in and let's make some money. Alrighty, what's next? The Pi cycle bottom indicator. So this basically crossed over the other day. It noted that the bottom was right here at about 19,000, close enough to where we actually were. Now, the Pi cycle top indicator was a very popular indicator that made the rounds on social media back during this period where we were actually close to the all-time high, and it was spot on. Right now, it is basically indicating that we have bottom, and it picked obviously the previous bottom, and it picked obviously the bottom before that, and then there's not enough data for the previous one. So I want to show you the pi cycle top indicator. So let me go to a weekly scale. On the daily, no wonder it's making life hard. Okay, so you can see that basically it picked the top, and it's like, yeah, well, it's just creating markers above. Let me just, can I put the show moving averages? There we go. Okay, basically, someone created this where the 350 and 111 day moving averages cross over. When they cross over, that marks the top. And basically, these tops just signal when these moving averages crossed over. So it basically picked close enough the top, even though we went about $5,000 more. So this indicator, like anything, take it with a grain of salt, but it's got obviously a good, it's got a good history. It's picked the 4 tops. It's picked the last 3 bottoms. And it's already said that we have hit the bottom. So that could sort of signal that we have, bottomed out, and we're now going to start going sideways for a long period of time till we start the new bull run. Jumping onto the RSI, so relative strength index. Now this indicator gives us a lot of information, usually on smaller scales. I like to use it, but here's just a really good, simple way to explain it. So right here, where can I create? We're on the daily. Okay, here's a really good example. So you can see right here where we had the price of 66,444, and we made a higher high at 69,314. Okay, so we've made a higher high in price. And how you use this indicator is when you make a lower low on the indicator, this is what's called a bearish divergence, where we are attempting to break the previous high, but the strength of the move, meaning it takes into consideration the volume that's actually being put into the crypto market in order to push the price up, wasn't sufficient enough, and it was kind of a bit of a fake out. A lot of people would have thought, hey, we're breaking the previous all-time high, and we're going to 100K, but in fact we didn't, and we created a bearish divergence, and you can see that marked the top of the top of the market, and then we started going down. So on a daily scale, what am I kind of seeing in regards to that indication? Well, we can see that we've got sort of these 3 simultaneous peaks, and what we really want to see is we want to see a bullish divergence. Now, bullish divergence is the opposite to what I just marked out. We need to see a lower low in price to where we've currently been. So the low right now is at 19,500. So we needed to see price come below 19,500, and we need to see this little wave here stay above this point that I'm marking out right there. So if we get the RSI to come back down but stay above this gives us a bullish divergence. That's going to get people sort of back into the market and investing because they're seeing that the volume wasn't sufficient enough to try and push it past the previous low, so the strength was weak, and therefore people are going to start buying into crypto. So right now, that's what we want to kind of be looking at on a daily scale, and we don't have that confirmation. That is why I believe we have a little bit more down price to go. Session volume HD, one of my favorite indicators. We're going to go back to the BTC's chart on Bybit. Now this gives us information on what's happening on a day-to-day. So you can see that you can see these sort of rectangles / squares. This marks out an entire day. Okay, and if you really want to count it, you should be able to see 24 bars, right? Because there's 24 hours in a day, that we're on the hour mark. And this is very similar to that other indicator that I showed you, which was the fixed range volume profile. And this gives us a volume profile of what's happening each and every day. So you have, let's use this middle one as an example. You have the value area high, where you see the change in discoloration between the colored and the non-colored. You have the point of control and the value area low. And what you tend to do as a trader, or what I do as a trader, is I mark out these points of control. So by marking out these points of control, what I want to see is, in the preceding day, I want to see price come back up here to test it as resistance. If it acts as resistance, we'll tend to see the price down. But now, as you can see, these last 3 days, we have never come back up to this price. So this price right here is what I call a naked point of control, which means that I'm going to get, more than likely, most of the time, a reaction off this price when we do come back up to revisit that. Now, because we are below that price, that from here, it will likely be short position that I will take. But what you want to see is, you want to see sort of price crawling up here and seeing resistance. You don't want to just see the price go break through really quickly, because price will tend to break through these resistance quite quickly. That's what Bitcoin does. It'll smash through it. So you want to see a nice, easy creep to the upside, and we'll get a rejection from here. But you will tend to see price just blow through these quite rapidly, because Bitcoin can move quite, hundreds of dollars in hours, sometimes very fast, when we have lots of volume and lots of volatility. So here is just one of the other indicators that I look, because you want to see what's happening day to day to make the preceding day information about what's going to happen. You want to have that information so you can make the best judgment. So here's an example where right here, this would have been a naked point of control, because the following day we did not come up to that price, but the day after, you can see the price came up, acted as resistance. Yes, we went a little bit above, but give it a bit of leeway, and then we came back down. And you will see the exact same thing when we create a point of control below the range and we've come up. You'll tend to see price come back down to the point of control, use it as support, and then we move to the upside. Alrighty, so let me turn that one off. Let's go over to Stochastic RSI, one of probably the best indicators that I like to use. Super simple for beginners. Basically, the top end of this indicator is the overbought territory. Basically means we should start seeing some selling, and then we're at the bottom of this range, we're in the oversold, we're going to see some buying. I'm just on the 4-hour. Let me go to the daily. I'm just on the daily right here, and this is why I believe that we are going to possibly head down a little bit further. We can see that every time the blue moving average moves over the orange moving average, and let's mark it out. Boom, 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 and boom. So I don't really need to explain it, but it's pretty self-explanatory. We went down, we went down, we went down, we went down, and we went down. And what are the moving averages looking to do right now? Crossover. So this has got a pretty good hit rate. Basically, if you want to do some spot trading, sell your Bitcoin when the two lines are above the dotted line, which is the 80% mark, and then buy some crypto when the moving averages are below the line, which is the 20%. Okay, before I move on, I see some comments. Love the new content. When moon, sir? Not for a while, I'll tell you that much. Are we going to be sideways until the end of the year? Depends what you mean by sideways. Right now, we're in a 5% sideways consolidation. I don't see us going this much sideways till the end of the year. That would be 3 months of sideways. Bitcoin doesn't have the patience to do that, and neither do investors. I do think, like I said, we saw the Bollinger Bands at the start of this video. If you missed it, you will see basically that we're going to have a imminent move very shortly. So on the daily scale, if these moving averages do cross over, but look, what they can do as well, they could do a little bit of a fake out. You can see here we went a crossover, and then we kept moving up, and then we sort of pumped. So right here, here's a indication. So you want to wait till you see the crossover of the averages, and then maybe give it an extra day just so it's confirmed. So right now they're touching, but it doesn't mean that these two, the blue line, can't just kick off this one, and then we get a little bit of a pump, and then we move to the overbought territory, which then gives us more of a stronger signal that we're going to see some downside. Right now we're kind of like in the middle of the neutral zone and the bearish zone, so anything can kind of happen. You kind of want to make a call when these two moving averages are above the dotted line. You can see here that the neutral zone, which is also sort of like a support line when we are above it, and then a resistance line when we're below it. It supported us last 3 times. Right now we're above it, so could we have a bit of a sell-off, come down to the neutral line and then kick off? That's also possible, or just kick off from where we are here if we don't see the moving averages crossover. We're going to get confirmation on this tomorrow, 10 a.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time. So no matter where you are watching, maybe type in 10 a.m. AEST, and that'll give you a good indicator of what's going to happen. I'm not going to go through the last two because I feel like I've just been blabbing on, but I'm going to show you one last one, which is Market Cypher B, one of the best and easiest indicators to understand what's going on. All right, don't worry about these blue waves on this indicator at the moment, but what I want you to focus on is these green and red waves. This is money flow entering and exiting the market. So when we are in a bull market, we tend to stay in the green a long period of time, as you can see. Boom. All right, so in the bull market, since the corona dump, all right, we went from a little red wave here where we had that dump on all markets because everyone was freaked out about what's going to happen with lockdowns. And then we commenced the bull run, and then we stayed in this green wave the entire time. Okay, money was coming into the market and staying in the market. As soon as we go from green to red, let's mark that out once again. What happened? Marked the basically close enough to the top. When we moved back from red to green, we saw a pump. Let me just move these. When we went back from green to red, we started selling. When we moved from red to green again, we had a bit of a pump. When we went from green to red, we had a dump. And right now, we have made a mini green wave, and you can see that we have, I'm going to zoom this in, a very acute angle red wave forming. So this is giving me confluence with the stochastic RSI with a few other indicators that right here, we're going to start possibly going down. So back to someone's question, when moon, not for a long period of time. So I went through a few indicators today. I wanted to show you confluence of what indicators are telling me. So the Bollinger Band quickly is telling me a big move is incoming. We are below the 20-period moving EMA on the weekly and the daily, which means we're still in the bear market. The fixed range profile is showing us that we have support here at $19,000. The hash ribbons indicator is giving us, a bit of a mixed signal. It's saying that it's a good time to buy, but at the end of the day, if you buy now at 19,000 or 17,000, at the end of the day, next bull run when we're hitting six figures, much for muchness. We're below the 200-period weekly moving average, which still signals we're in the bear market. The pi cycle bottom indicator has flashed, indicating that we hit the bottom back down here, and we shouldn't see too much further selling. The relative strength index is not giving us a bullish divergence on the daily, which means that we're probably going to see some lower prices. And the session volume didn't give us too much because that was on a daily scale. So, guys, Bitcoin is going down. Now, I normally would say that, hey, let's jump into Ethereum. But look, if the big daddy and the OG is going down, guess what everything else is going to do? It's also going to go down. So instead of going through Ethereum, I just want to have a quick look at the Ethereum BTC ratio because this is giving me an interesting indicator. When I was talking about the red waves and the green waves just on the last chart, we can see that we are currently in a green wave. So what this is telling me is that if Ethereum is going to, what it's telling me is Ethereum is outperforming or will outperform Bitcoin in this short period of time. And when I say outperforming is if the price goes up of Bitcoin, Ethereum's going to outperform it. If the price of Bitcoin drops, Ethereum more than likely won't have as bad of a loss because we are in this green money flow. The only thing concerning to me is these blue waves that I told you not to worry about. We could possibly, like the RSI, create a bearish divergence. So if we get a higher ratio for the Bitcoin to Ethereum pairing, which you can see here. So these numbers here represent a ratio of what Ethereum is to Bitcoin. So right now, Ethereum is 0.079% of Bitcoin. So if you type in 19,700, which is the price of Bitcoin, and you go times 0.079, that will give you the current price of Ethereum. If Ethereum gets a bit of a pump or stays the same and Bitcoin has a bit of a drop, we're going to form a bearish divergence. We're creating a higher high on the ratio, and we're going to have a lower high here on the daily scale for these two momentum waves, and these work very similarly to the RSI, and the RSI is actually on this indicator as well. It's this purple line right here. Let me click away. It's this purple line, so you can see that the RSI peaked out at the same peak here, and right now it's below that peak. So if this price moves up here, and this RSI stays down here, Ethereum will obviously do poorly against Bitcoin. But right now, things are looking okay with Ethereum. It's been outperforming Bitcoin now since the 15th of June. You can see that it was about 5% of Bitcoin, and it's gone up to 8%. So it's more than it's about 35%. It's grown by 35% compared to Bitcoin. So that's something that I wanted to focus on. I'll do some Ethereum technical analysis next week, but it has also got a huge resistance at $17,030. This yellow line right here, that's what I'm looking at. You can see that it was support back here during the bull run. It was support back here when we tried to collapse. We finally collapsed down, came up resistance. We had a fake out. Now we're below it. This 1700 is, it's money. Basically, we're above it. We're going to the moon with Ethereum. Whilst we're below it, I'm looking at lower prices. And because I'm going to be doing these videos each and every week, guys, I will be able to give you some possible price targets that I'm looking for both Ethereum and for Bitcoin. But that is it. I've gone probably well over time, but I enjoy talking. So I really hope that you guys have enjoyed today's live stream. If you do have any questions or comments, feel free to leave them below. Please join me on Wednesday for the altcoin TA. I will be taking your recommendations of what you would like me to look at. In regards to, are we going to moon on certain altcoins? Are we not? I tend to think that altcoins tend to move before Bitcoin does, especially during the bear market, because people want to FOMO in to try and find that next 100x coin. So we're going to do some TA on some altcoins. Please join me Wednesday for that. But don't forget, we've got our DC live stream tomorrow afternoon at 5 p.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time, and I can't wait to see you then. That's all from me. Enjoy your evening or morning or afternoon, wherever you are. See you guys.